Hey, everybody, it's your buddy's pal Anthony. With me today is my buddy, your buddy, Steve. Hi, Steve. We're going to start off with Bad Batch, folks. So I think everybody knows Steve's views on it, but we're going to try to get a little deeper into it. I'm sure we'll go a little bit off topic from there, as is the norm. Steve, roll that intro, please. All right, so yeah, we are 5 episodes in on Bad Batch, 4 weeks. And personally, I enjoy it, but there's only been one episode I give a crap about. Agree or disagree?
Oh, interesting. All right. Um, I half agree, but
Okay.
continue.
So, I mean, I'm kind of with the animation, and I shouldn't because Rebels and Clone Wars were so damn good.
Mm,
But I don't know. It's good Star Wars content overall. It's Star Wars content I can consume and just enjoy because I'm in the universe
mm,
and it's quality. I'll still watch this over the sequel trilogy any day of the week. I still have zero desire to start Andor. This is an easy in to the world, and it's a time period that I probably never really cared about before. But now that I'm in it, I'm like, oh yeah, let's see what's going on in the
mm,
fall of the Republic, the rise of the Empire
mm.
timeline. But and again, like good episodes, like but they're kind of like the last season of Clone Wars where Ahsoka's with the girls, the sisters. They're filler episodes, except for the one where it's Crosshair and Cody, and that was such a good episode. I thought like, okay, we had the heist for the first 2 episodes, and obviously, by the way, spoilers. Uh, the season premiere was a heist, and then episode 3 was Cody and Crosshair, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was like, whew. And then we had a pod race episode, and now we have another heist episode. And there's no, like, I thought episode 3, yeah, the Cody episode, I thought that was going to start to become like, we're going to start building the idea of the season out from here. But again, I'm enjoying it, but I have no idea what the season's going to be about. Like, I don't see a common thread. Like, obviously, season 1 happens. It's the fall of the Republic. It's Order 66 and the wake of it, and we're seeing the clones adapt. It's nice that we're seeing. We see the clone, like we saw in the highest episode. We see more of the clones becoming aware and like thinking about what they've done and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know where the season's going still.
Yep. I'll put up on the screen here. So I put up here just the episode titles for everybody to see. Episode
Okay.
1, Spoils of War. Episode 2, The Ruins of War. To me, they're like the same episode. I don't even remember. They go to steal Dooku's.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, it's 2 parts, so it is the same
right,
episode
right.
essentially.
Um, and then the end of episode 2 is when the Vice Admiral Rampart kills that clone to cover up
Right.
that the Bad Batch exists, which leads into episode 3, which was, as you said, amazing, absolutely amazing. And then we get Faster and Entombed, the last 2 episodes. Um, I and actually, sorry, I'm just gonna jump back real quick. I mean, already I'm intrigued by this clone conspiracy title, episode 7, um, the Outpost. So, there could be some things. Plan 99. Um,
Hmm.
not sure that one's gonna be, but I think it was Jenna Kenobi who mentioned it. He's like, the one thing he likes about the season so far is visually they had more money to use. More money,
Hmm.
more skill, more technology, whatever it is. It looks better than other shows before. But I just feel like I'm wasting my time. Like episode 3 was so good, and I was like, oh yeah, more of this, as you mentioned, Rise of the Republic, or sorry, Rise of the Empire era. But like I'm watching these episodes and I'm like, all right, like cool, more side stuff, but like I don't need this much side stuff. Like you got to mix it up.
Yeah,
And there were side things in Clone Wars that were fun. Like, um, I'm thinking about when the episodes, because they used to do 3 episode arcs or 4 sometimes, but like the ones with the
right.
droids going on their own mission with that small general
Yeah,
character. Like the first one was kind of like a filler type, and then it gets into some like good story with them finding that clone that lost his memory and other things happen. So I'm like, I feel like they're just not mixing in enough story and filler. It's just filler, 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 and all the filler stuff is just a heist gone wrong every single time, which they even talk
yeah,
about in this episode.
yeah. It's kind of like I say, for jumping over to live action and the Arrowverse, they
Mm-hmm.
make a joke about the Flash needing a motivational speech
Yeah,
and everything else, and they don't do anything about it. They make a joke about how they suck at heists based on the one time they did it and it went horribly wrong, and they really don't do anything to. I don't think they do anything to improve their odds.
right.
So it's like okay, but yeah, like I say, like it's just been filler episodes, and I'm okay with the occasional filler episode, but it seems like 1 out of 5 is too much, or
Yep.
one non-filler out of 5,
Right.
that's too much filler, not enough substance.
Right.
So that's like my only. Again, it's fun. I don't mind. I watch it, and I'm not mad watching it. I'm not hate watching
Right.
it or
Right.
anything like I have other
Right.
shows, but
I agree with
it's
that.
just like I'm wait. I want it to pick up already. I feel like because I don't. I mean, I should have looked it up. I'm sorry. How many episodes is this season going to be?
I think it's gonna be
If you,
17.
okay, so that's a decent amount of episodes, but again, we can have some filler later on in the season.
Yeah.
Like let's get some. Like we'll need a break later in the season. It's just how it is. Like like you said, we get the 3 or 4 episode arc, like Clone Wars did, and now, oh, okay, let's have a little palate cleanser. Let's see,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Let's see Echo fucking pod race, or not that she pod race, but let's see a pod race episode. Even though probably nobody wants to see more pod racing in Star Wars, but
I didn't mind the pod racing in
you
episode
know,
1. The game was great. Do you remember that for N64?
them lies on that. But then again, we're not exactly the best. I mean, the fandom. Anyway, let's not talk about that. But
um, oh, there's also the pod
yeah,
racing game, the arcade that you sat in the actual pod and you had the sticks.
I never played that one. I didn't know about that one.
Mm-hmm.
I remember playing an arcade one where you're in basically like a booth and you have the screen in front of you and you just have a
Mm-hmm.
joystick, and at some point you're flying different types of vehicles.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
think it, I think at one point you might be Luke, but with a lightsaber. But again, you're
Yes,
using a joystick, and it's
a single joystick.
you know a single joystick.
Mm-hmm.
It's late '90s, early 2000s tech, so it's not exactly what people would know and love from today. Still
Mm-hmm.
fun though.
Mm-hmm. I to your point, not hate watching it. So I do like that. But
Yeah, that's
at
nice.
at the same time, I'm like, I'm getting through these, and somebody in my comment section on TikTok was like, "Oh, here goes another person complaining that a kid show is too kiddie," and I'm like, I hear you if this is maybe Rebels, maybe most of Rebels. I hear you if this is like Clone Wars season 1, where it's like, oh, I don't know what this is. I definitely hear you for talking like Star Wars Resistance or whatever that stupid show was. But
Yeah,
Clone Wars changed into a more teen/adult show. And Bad Batch is a spin-off of that and is riding
yeah,
that coattail. So like we've acknowledged it's not a kiddie show. It's meant for kids can watch it.
yeah,
Like they definitely let it pass so kids can watch it, but that's not the main target audience. So I'm like, we've already acknowledged it's not a kid show. So why are we getting mad at each other? Like, oh, you're mad at a kid show? It's not a kid show. Like it's a cartoon, but it's not a kid show. It's just a different medium. But I'm like, you gave us season 1 of filler botch missions to learn about the characters, learn about their strengths and weaknesses, get them to start caring about Omega, so you care about Omega, but that didn't really work. But
Mhm.
nonetheless, I'm like, you gave season one was all we need to know about learning about these characters. I don't need another episode of Wrecker and Omega having like a wacky adventure finding something. Like, I know
Yeah.
they're friends. I know he cares about her. We've established this. And then they find the compass in the last episode, and I'm like, great, it's Rise of Skywalker. We found this thing.
Yeah, it makes it's she
It's so
found it. She didn't
stupid.
the Force didn't call to her.
No,
She just randomly found it. It makes
yeah,
it why. And by the way, real quick, Rebels did grow up.
it
Like
did
I
at
could
the end.
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, hell, even at the end of the first season, like they have was it at the end of the first season? I'm
it,
trying to remember when the
it's probably
Inquisitors
like end
came
of
in.
second or third when Maul starts being
But
a
by no,
factor.
but by the so I want to, and we can fact check in a minute, but towards the, I want to say towards the end of the first, maybe like the midpoint of the first season, the Inquisitors show up because at this point, Kanan's outed himself as a Jedi,
Hmm.
at least on a mission. Like not that he's walking around in the robes like Obi-Wan uh,
Hmm.
after his season, but the Inquisitors come. He gets taken hostage. The rebels go get him. This is spoilers for Rebels now. This is where you eventually get like you at the end of the episode you find out Ahsoka's still around because she
Hmm.
comes in the Ghost to save the day and all this other stuff. And but in that episode, watch the episode, or I will get pulled, but find it and watch it on your own. Kanan versus the Inquisitor is the end of the first season, I think, and it leads into the second season where more Inquisitors and Darth Vader show up. So that
Hmm.
show grew up very quickly.
Hmm.
So but again, they grew up in the first season,
Yeah,
and I agree with everything you just said. If you have to say that Bad Batch is a new show, it's really not. The friggin' the whatever you want to call it, the title plaque melted from Clone Wars into the Bad
into that.
Batch
Yeah. Hmm.
in the first season. So it's like you're really not helping me differentiate from this show. This is just it's like there's a meme I saw where it's like Disney going to Filoni. You're not just gonna do like Clone Wars seasons 8, 9, 10, so on and so forth, are you? And like him smiling, no, 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 of course not.
Yeah.
And then it's like the Thor look, of course not. And then
Yeah.
it's the Bad Batch melting out of the Clone Wars plaque. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, again, I'm not hate watching it. Just to reiterate, I know I'm repeating myself, but I just want anybody listening to know I do not hate on the show. I am ready for more. That's
Yeah.
all. That's my critique. I'm ready for more. I'm ready for more. Episode 3. I got so hyped seeing that the wall of clone names, which I
Hmm.
was shocked that the Empire even did that.
Yeah.
Uh, so that was something that was cool. I was like, oh wow. But then it was also like, oh damn. And then you see Cody and like you see his bland armor now versus what he was at in Revenge of the Sith, but through the Clone Wars.
Hmm.
Uh, it's nice to see like I feel like they're planting seeds in Crosshair,
Yep.
you know, uh, which I don't know if I want. I kind of think I might want him to stay like a loyalist, just because him coming back to their side seems like, of course, it's going to happen. But you know, you know, subvert expectations in a good way. Oh, he's going to be redeemed. They're going to be one big happy family. No, he's going to let him take out one of the clones, one of the Bad Batch.
Yeah. I'd also,
Some,
you know what I would be fine with is if let's say they do want him to redeem himself, right? But let it be where he redeems himself to save the troops, but he dies with the Bad Batch or dies saving them, but like dies by the hand of like the were they the Imperial elite troopers, whatever the ones that were all black that he was with.
Death
Like
Troopers.
no, not the Death Troopers. It was different ones. Death Troopers are black, but there's the ones that he ran that group
Oh, in the first
in
season.
the first season. Like
Yeah,
let them kill him, right? Like let him almost die by his own hand type thing. Something cool like that, you know?
yeah. If it's again, if it's a heroic thing, but if it's just going to be him coming back to the light, and now season 3 and 4 is the whole Bad Batch back together again, and then we have to do more episodes where it's Crosshair learning
Yeah.
to care for Omega.
Yeah,
Don't, come on, you can't keep retreading this stuff.
yeah. Elite troopers. That's what they're called.
Elite troopers. Death troopers were in like Rogue One.
Rogue One. Yep.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And they were probably the evolution of the elite troopers.
Right. And
But
but what's funny too is like you can do and I it's funny, I make fun of other companies. Like actually, I make fun of other properties such as the Avatar video I'm still editing. Um, I make fun of other properties that copy something else. In this one, I'd be fine with it if they copied Last Samurai, where he's training the elite troopers. They kind of suck, but he's training them. Somehow goes back to the Bad Batch, and now they show up, and he's like, "Oh shit! They actually like took my training to heart. Like they're actually like way better than I left them." And then again, they take him out. I think that'd be pretty epic.
you're talking about the Tom Cruise movie, right?
Oh yeah,
Okay, just making sure.
yeah. Love Last
I
Samurai.
like that movie. I like that movie, even though like I watched something where it's like this is totally wrong.
Oh
Like
yeah,
from a real
for sure.
world historical standpoint, there's no way a Civil War soldier is getting called to Japan to do all this training.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, no, that's a very good Tom Cruise movie.
Yeah, and I mean, essentially, it's just Dances with Wolves, but in Japan. It's an
Yeah,
exact copy, but it's good. I'd be fine with something like that.
yeah.
A highlight I had, probably my favorite. Sorry, not my favorite. My second favorite moment of this season so far. They in this episode, they were in the bar and were not wearing their backpacks and their gear. And I was like, they finally made new character models of them
Oh
walking
yeah.
around with, because they're like hanging out in the like with their gear on and everything. And I'm just like, does it just weigh nothing to you guys, or do you just have ammunition on you at all times just in case? It's kind of weird. Like at a
I
certain point,
mean,
like take the backpack off at least.
it makes sense. So I'll fight just for the hell of it. I'll fight the opposition.
Sure.
It makes sense in the first season for them not to do that because of everything that's just happened and because they don't know who they can trust. They
Right.
think, everybody's around the corner. So from that standpoint, I can understand them keeping as much artillery and ammunition on them as they can.
Hmm.
But in reality, yeah, it's just somebody kind of like what was it in the earlier seasons of the Clone Wars? They ended every scene with everybody crossing their arms, and they just kept reusing that like
Yeah.
over and over. It's the same. That's the same thing. I did
Yeah.
like that they. I do like that they have changed up their paint job on the
Hmm.
uniforms too to
Hmm.
try to. I mean, granted, the helmets kind of give them away, but to try to
Yeah.
differentiate from a clone trooper.
Yeah. I kind of wish it was just new character models altogether. But that's where I conspiracy theory that they talk to Hasbro, RIP to the 15% of Hasbro people who got laid off. But
Ooh,
I think they talk to Hasbro where they're like, all right, new series is coming out. We're going to give you some stuff to work with so that way you can make new figures to go along with the series. And Hasbro's like, oh, you're doing Bad Batch again? Like, is it cool if you just don't change the armor so we can keep using the molds that we made? Just change the paint job. And they're like,
yeah.
we can reuse the character 3D models as well and just change the paint job. Deal. Shake hands. And that's what we got.
Uh, You're more versed in that than I am, so that sounds plausible to my novice ears.
Yeah.
That is crazy. Like we, in our chat, we've been talking about the figures, and I'm not a collector, but yeah, the stuff they're trying to get away with, that does seem crazy. Or like you had the other video a while ago where how long ago were you collecting the gargoyles? And like
Uh,
at
oh,
least a
well,
year?
when I think I know what you're talking about. That was probably like a year ago. Or no, that's,
Yeah, like
damn, like 2 years ago, actually, when
was
Goliath
it
came out.
was it yeah, it was gargoyles because it was like they were just reselling something where it was the same. I think it was probably Goliath,
Thalog.
but instead of say what?
Thalog is his name, the clone of
Oh,
Goliath.
the clone. Okay, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, but it was him. Stop me if I'm wrong, or just stop me because you can tell the story quicker. It was one version they already made. Either his wings were like spread, or the other one, or they were wrapped around him like a cloak. And the new version, it was the opposite of whatever they previously released. And instead of being like something you can plug and play, you had to buy the entire guy again.
No, I think you're mixing a couple things, I think. But half of
Sounds
that's
like me.
correct. With gargoyles, with NECA, they released the figure, wings are just open, and of course we all see the pictures when they're previewing it, and we're like, oh my god, we've always wanted dope gargoyle figures. So you get them, and then you put them on your shelf, and you're like, holy shit, like these wings are massive. And if they're gonna make the whole line, and you definitely want all of them if you're gonna start with one, I don't have the space to have them all out there because the wings are massive. So then he comes out. Then they release Thalog, who is a clone of Goliath, but a different color. So I'm like, all right, you guys are just lazy. And instead of coming out with a whole different figure right away, you're like, oh, let's just make two of the same thing, released at the same time. Whatever. He shelf warms collecting dust right now in all the stores. But then they announce Bronx is coming out. I think it was Bronx first, and then the same ad. They announced Bronx in a what do you call it? They do like the not marionette. What do you call that shit when the toys move in video form, but you move them like a little bit, picture.
Oh,
And
stop motion?
they do stop motion. Yes, they did a stop motion for Bronx, and then in that one they teased Demona. So you're like, oh great, they are going to continue going, but then they're like, Bronx comes with Goliath folded wings. So you're like, all right, well, I was going to buy Bronx anyway, but now I definitely need to buy Bronx because the only way I can display them is if I get the folded wings to go with Goliath. Fast forward, Demona finally gets released, or they preview Demona, and you're like, great, well, hopefully they've learned their lesson and they just give us Demona with folded wings and open wings.
Okay.
Wrong. Demona comes with open wings, therefore letting us know that they're going to keep attaching folded wings to other figures to force you to buy the figure whether you want it or not.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Bastards.
Okay.
It's smart.
And then, well, yeah. But then, yeah, like you said, like paying another $30 coming back to what I was thinking of originally. It was a Spider-Man figure, right? You have to pay another $30 for basically the same guy, but this time he has like, you get like like as if he's shooting a web out. Is the web is the new feature.
The web and
That's just,
they changed the the webs are new. That wasn't in the original one, I don't think. And it's the newer Spider-Man. So I'll go back a second, just so everybody knows. So what they'll do with Marvel, and it's not like a dumb idea, like it's smart money-wise. What they'll do is they'll make like a body, right? They'll make like a male muscular figure, for example, and then say, all right, we could take this style figure and then just repaint it 10 different ways. They do it way more than that, but let's say for 10 different ways, and then we can use that mold for 10 different characters. We just have to make new head sculpts to go with everybody. So you can mass produce the bodies and then just get a different head sculpt every time. And that's kind of where most of your money's going at that point, because you have to make a new head sculpt, do new paint jobs, all that kind of stuff. But the core figure is already there.
gotcha.
So, somebody you actually like, Winter Soldier, his body was used for a long time for various Marvel characters as like the base. And then they would add like, different gloves for a different person or a different arm or whatever it was. So with the Spider-Man figure, when they showed the pictures of it, they're like, all right, Spider-Man Part 2, the game Part 2 with Miles Morales, we're announcing Peter Parker's figure, and it's the same paint job we've already had. So the same character from the first one, but it's on a new body. But it turns out that body is the same Spider-Man body we just got. Like they just made a brand new one that has like toes that even articulate, so you can get all like cool poses. So they're like, oh, it's going to be that paint job on this Spider-Man body. Great. Works for me. But it's $35. And the running price of a figure is like $22 to $24. So I'm like, wait, there's nothing new about this figure at all. It's already an established mold that you made. So how are you justifying a $10 increase for this thing? It's just so bizarre. But
Yeah. I'm. Thank you for knowing all this and for doing all the legwork because I am so glad that, for the most part, I think aside from shocker to everybody listening, aside from the odd batarang or grapple gun,
yeah,
I don't have any collection. I don't have any collect. Well, and the shield. I have cap shield,
yep,
but I'm thankful that my I've been able to keep that in check. Although I really do want to start building Legos again,
yeah. Legos are
and
popular.
they are popular and it's fun. Like, don't get me
Hmm.
wrong, but yeah, no, I don't know.
Yeah.
See,
Well,
yeah, when I see
and
the
I,
prices and when you guys talk about it, I just sit back and I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like,
yeah.
again, like you say, for a one-off, maybe, but especially when, like, if they're going to do a whole series or not a series, a whole line of,
Hmm.
too crazy for me.
No. And that's
And
where I
especially
showed
now
on,
hearing what you do.
and I showed it on the live yesterday. Um, Krillin from Dragon Ball Z. Like, I didn't mind spending the extra money on this because it's a one-off mold. Like, you can't really use his head for anything else. You can't use his body really for anything else. He's a really odd character. So I'm like, yeah, like paying extra for this because they can only use him for him. That makes sense to me. But if it's a body you're using for a million other figures, like what's the how are you trying to lie to me that you have to charge extra because it's a new version and it's not.
Yeah, just doing it because they can.
But something you should collect, sir. Start getting into some diecasts.
Ah,
$6.
I can definitely get into some of that. I do have I have a Batman Returns shielded Batmobile
Oh,
at
nice.
home, but that's a Hot Wheel.
Yep.
But I'm pretty sure it's a metal Hot Wheel.
Yep.
They're all metal. So,
Oh,
but
I
the hood
saw.
you said doesn't open, right? On kit.
Yeah, this one from this company, only the doors open. Um, but sadly, the hood doesn't, and the back part doesn't.
Trunk.
And then what's even more disappointing as I look at it, there's no dashboard on the inside. Like I look in
I was
there,
gonna ask.
yeah, there's nothing there. Where I think on the DeLorean, I'm pretty sure it's my DeLorean. That one, there's a dashboard in there with the steering wheel and everything. Not that you
Hmm,
really like look at it like that, but at the same time, it's just cool to have.
yeah, that's actually funny because I do have a DeLorean Lego that I got
Hmm.
for Christmas a couple years ago, and they have like the da I was sort of like I'm pretty sure it was a sticker I had to put on, but it had like the stick shift and it had actually. I was surprised at how crazy they went on the inside. Like obviously
Hmm.
there's the one brick that has the flux capacitor,
Right.
and I figured there'd be a steering wheel, but the fact that they had, I'm pretty sure it's a sticker and a stick shift and all that other stuff. I was like, oh
Hmm.
wow, they're actually pretty detailed.
Did I show you guys the? I like how we're just completely off of Star Wars already. Uh,
No, I mean that's why it's a ramble and not a Hey Archer.
that's true. Did I show you guys the Hot Wheels DeLorean, the 1/6 scale?
Was that the one in the photo you just sent the group?
Oh, this thing.
Oh, if you did, I missed it.
Like this thing is wild.
Looks good.
Lights up.
Mr. Fusion, okay.
Mr. Fusion opens up. Tires turn,
Hmm.
and then you can actually put the figures in there. There's also a tumbler, but I don't even know where you can fit that thing.
That's
Um,
crazy.
but the inside too has a full dash and everything.
Oh, well, I mean, that's probably way more than $6, so that would make sense that they're going to get more details. You know what I do
uh,
have to do now that we're on this tangent?
mhm.
A buddy of mine, you guys don't know him. He, I think I've maybe mentioned him privately in the past. So this guy, and I mean this in the best possible way, he had the 40-year-old virgin apartment. Like you think your stuff is bad, and if your
Yeah,
fiance thinks your stuff is bad, I'll send you some pictures. The guy, when he got a house, his collection exploded, and we're like, "You spent so much money?" He goes, "No, I've had this. I just pulled it out of storage because now I had room." Like
yeah,
his apartment had like the posters, and one of his two bedrooms had like One side was Transformers, one side was GI Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Cut to him getting a house. He has the basement, and it's Transformers, GI Joe, superheroes, Thundercats, all the vehicles like the GI Joe base stations and everything else, and it was ridiculous. But the reason I mention him is because this man, he's not listening probably, but I'll make him listen. But whatever, he got the proton pack.
Nice.
I need to beg him to let me look at that and like
Yeah.
do some videos because I didn't know he got it, and I'm not surprised that he got it, but I'm just jealous that he has it and that I don't.
Yeah.
Because the video he sent, like, you know, it was just like it has the sound effects and everything else, and yeah, I want to go see that thing in person.
So that so that was something. I'll explain the backstory to that. Like pun intended.
But
The
I'm done.
backstory to the proton pack backpack.
If only you had a soundboard.
Yeah. I need to add that sound actually. A cheesy drum roll. Um so the Hasbro does this thing called HasLabs, and it
Mhm.
sucks because now other people are doing this for way lesser things, actually including Hasbro. Um, they essentially crowdfund for different things, and they're like, all right, if you guys back this, then we'll make it because it costs too much to make it, and then risk it not selling and people not wanting it. So the Proton Pack was something that they came out with $400, and you kind of at first you're like, that's a crazy amount of money for anything, but then you get into the details and that it lights up and that it's life size, and they're like, all right, if you guys back this, then if we get to a certain amount of backers, we'll give you an extra, and then if it gets another round of backers, we throw in more extras, so that you keep getting more stuff for that 400. The more that people, buy it or back it. Um,
Oh,
so they
well,
come
I
out
didn't know
with,
that. That's
oh yeah, yeah, like this slime effect here. That was just if it reached the goal, like if it got enough people, slime effect. But then smart move, they're like, hey, you know how you guys are all buying the wand? If it if we get this many backers, we'll actually make it so the wand plugs in to the proton pack. And then you keep going, and then they're like, now you can get these mushrooms that go with that.
marshmallows.
Oh, sorry, marshmallows. Yeah,
I was like,
mushrooms. Yeah,
you're thinking of
um,
Last of Us.
exactly. And that which we can talk about if you want to. It's your show, not mine. Um,
We can.
and then the last one I think was this one, like the stand for it to rest on and open up and all that stuff. So it's like $400. You get all that stuff, and nobody else can buy it. Like if you didn't back it, that's it. You're paying markup from here on out. Smart.
Oh yeah, no, that's very smart.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know any of that. I've seen all that in like the pictures. I just never realized that that was as you just described it. So yeah, I mean, that makes it worth it to me then.
Mm-hmm.
I should have done it, but oh well.
Yeah. But then that's where they get, they mess up. They get greedy. They're like, oh, obviously, if that worked, this has to work. And they do
Yeah.
stuff like this. This was a laughing stock. Like Ghost Rider 6-inch figure, but it's Robbie Ghost Rider with a car, so it's not motorcycle.
Hmm.
And this, for that point of reference, is $50 less than the Proton Pack. And we're talking about just a car like this with a 6-inch figure.
That's not a $400 purchase to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. One that they did well, that is a similar scale, the Cobra Hiss tank. So $100 less, but where they got you was they were like, hey, $100 less, it lights up, all sorts of cool stuff. However, of the different tiers, or what's included in the tiers, are going to be more figures. So now you're like, for $300, you get the tank, and I believe you're going to be getting 4 different action figures that normally retail like $25 each. So you're like, all right, $200. I get this one-off tank. Put my Cobras in it. It also has like, again, gun turrets on it.
Right.
You get an exclusive Cobra Commander that's going to come with it. And for all you toy photographers, it even has such detail, if I can find it, that the back part opens up and you can like put the figures in there and they could be seated, gun racks in there, like all sorts of little cool things. So this thing blew its goal out of the water super fast because they're like so different. Again, more reasonable
Yeah.
price considering all the stuff you get. But the Ghost Rider, they're like $400 essentially.
Yeah. I mean, of the three things, the pack and this and GI Joe isn't even really my thing
Right.
necessarily. I enjoyed it, but yeah, this seems like you're going to definitely get you're getting your money's worth based on
Mm-hmm.
what you've just told me versus the Ghost Rider one. So yeah, I mean, like with anything
Yeah.
else, these guys get crazy and they get greedy and they think,
Mm-hmm.
they're walking on water because they had one good, essentially a good GoFundMe, and now they're going to keep running with it. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, uh, do you want to quickly touch on Last of Us?
I'm down.
Because so I've never played the game. Shocker. We should just assume I've never played the game about anything that's a game adaptation. Uh, I I enjoy it more than I thought. I was like, maybe everybody had this thought, or a lot of us are like, oh great, another end of the world zombie show.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was interesting. I liked that we actually, and obviously spoilers. I thought it was cool that they show basically tell you what it is, and that global warming is what eventually kills us, but in a different way than you would expect. It's
Mm-hmm.
not the flooding or the whatever, it's mushrooms. And now people who don't like mushrooms on their pizzas and watch this show will never change their freaking minds. Uh, but yeah, I mean, and also like I was like, okay, another zombie show and yet another show where Pedro Pascal is in charge of a orphan.
Escort
This man
mission.
is, yeah, this guy is really carving out a niche for himself in the genre, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Did he? I didn't watch Game of Thrones. Did he have? Tell me he didn't have a kid he was transporting in Game of Thrones.
Um, I'm not the one to answer that because I didn't watch that far.
Oh, okay. So Sal, if you're out there, um, but I mean, yeah, it's interesting. I like that they did the time jump so that unlike Walking Dead, we're not dealing with the immediate fall of society, and it's just the new world, if you will, has already
Mm-hmm.
risen, and we're going to get to explore that. It seems like in the coming seasons, or excuse me, in the coming episodes, and I mean, yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It looks good. I feel like that's a common complaint or praise that I give, but the stuff could go either way. I mean, look at the big budget movies. Some of them look like crap now, but they have skyscrapers leaning over on one another, and it's supposed to be the bomb. Right now, we're in Boston, so it's the bombed out remnants of Boston. You can probably speak to it more than me, being a transplanted Bostonian, but it looks pretty damn good to me.
So it's funny you mentioned that because it gives me or gave me flashbacks to Spider-Man 2 for it was either PlayStation or PlayStation 2. I can't remember. I think PlayStation because I didn't have a PS2. Now that I think about it, but either way, when the game came out, it was the first one that had like open world roaming, and the cool thing was like Empire State Building is where it's supposed to be. Like every place is like where it geographically should be in the city. In this one, once they leave that safe haven that they're in, they go outside and they're standing in downtown Boston. I'm like, holy shit, that's like downtown Boston. Like instantly, I was like, I know exactly where that is. It's actually by my job, and I was like, oh, that building is there. That building is there. Like everything is exactly where it was supposed to be, and it's those little things that I'm like, oh, like to your point, this is just a TV show, and they're doing way better of a world build versus some of the movies that we have. But no, I agree. The on paper, you're like it's just a zombie show, but what you're gonna see as the show goes on, this isn't really a spoiler, but because I mean, and you just started it. Um, they're going out into the world and they're going to meet different people along the way, different gangs, different societies along the way, and it's really going to show like just the fall of humanity in all this. And the zombies are just almost side characters to the whole thing. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I feel like they're starting. So like Walking Dead, it took a while, I think, for
Right.
the zombies to get to be the side character, and I think even now Walking Dead, I haven't watched Walking Dead since Negan baseball batted the
Right.
camera.
Right.
Like I saw the season premiere of the next one, but then something just turned off and I've tuned out.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like from what I hear now they're doing what Last of Us already started to do, which is now they're doing time jumps to like I think I could be totally wrong, but from what little I've gleaned from the trailers and the odd episode I've seen here and there, I feel like
Mm-hmm.
they might be doing time jumps. But I like that they're starting off with this, and like I said, I don't really know why. I do like the fact that you know where these zombies are coming from. Oh,
Yeah.
and do you have a hat you can put on real quick?
Uh, yeah.
Hold on to your hat, Steve. I've actually played Spider-Man 2, the video game.
Ah!
That was way too much for so little payoff. I'm sorry, but I had to.
I love that.
Uh,
But I mean,
yeah, no, I mean, I can't speak to the game, so I really don't have much else to compare and contrast to. I, I'm so 2 episodes in, I'm enjoying it. I hope they
yeah,
have a plan. I hope it's not like I don't know how many video games it is, but
two.
I hope it's 2 video games. All right, I hope they have 3 seasons planned. I hope they have like as a kid, I wanted shows to go on and on and on forever.
Mm-hmm.
Now being more critical of it and just being an adult and not having the time, it's cool if something like, and I know you have your issues with it, episodic TV like The Big Bang Theory, where
Mm-hmm.
you know you can stretch the character growth and it doesn't need to be anything major and blah blah blah. That can go on for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
A Walking Dead, a Last of Us, even a Mandalorian, don't shoot me, needs to have an ending. Otherwise, you're going to go on too long, and then eventually, you're just all you're going to do is, and stop me if I'm wrong. Like Walking Dead's done, you're going to just take away from the earlier great seasons
Mm-hmm.
because you just kept it running.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That show. But you know, I think the difference here, so far from what they said, again, it only takes but so long until they, you know, the companies get their greedy hands in the pot. But they said so far the goal is to follow the game almost verbatim. So the game, there is a time jump between 1 and 2, which was good. Part 2, it is divisive in the Last of Us community. Although it just may be a very vocal minority that was like angry with the game. But I watched playthroughs and I thought it was great. Um, but there's still room for a part 3. So I think if they break it up, maybe you do 2 seasons per game, I'd say. But at that point, I'm like, I think you're good. Like, I think once you get to the end of the second one, if the third game's not out, I think you're good at that point. Just
That's
make
fair.
just make good TV. You know.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay to make good TV and not long TV.
But it is weird that he's like almost typecast now, but it works. Like he's so good of an actor that it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and this, I mean, I have to imagine this is more demanding since he's not in a helmet and he has to
Right.
be there.
He has to be
You
there.
know, it's not like, you know, for season one, you know, I forget where he was doing plays in London while they were filming in the desert.
Mm-hmm.
And he, you know, so I'm not mad. It's just funny to me that it's like somebody at HBO said, yeah, yeah, I don't know why. I can see him chaperoning an orphan through a wasteland to a goal. Yeah, that'll work. I don't know why, but that'll work. I think I know
Didn't
why, guys, but
didn't something else come out with him doing that too? Am I? There's a third thing. I'm pretty sure.
is there?
I'm gonna try to
There
look.
was I want to see the movie with him and Nick Cage. That's not. I don't think that has him chaperoning a child in it. He plays a drug dealer. Um, to the Ghoul.
Let's not forget he also was sadly in Wonder Woman.
I did forget that. Thank you for bringing that up. Oh yeah, actually, that's what you're thinking about because he's a single dad in Wonder Woman
Oh,
too.
he is.
Wonder
Yeah,
Woman as well. Well, actually, it is Wonder Woman too. But yeah, that's it. That's what you're thinking of. See, I had successfully brain dumped that, and now you've brought
it's
it
back.
back.
He brought it back. He also played the cowboy in Kingsman: The Golden Circle. I actually liked him in that.
I liked him in that one too.
Yeah.
Uh, well, now I'm depressed because you have me thinking about Wonder Woman 1984. So on that note, I guess that's a show. Got me thinking about that show. I'm gonna go beat my head
Sorry.
against the wall and watch uh, Batman versus Superman, the Snyder Cut.
Yeah. All right. Want to do the plugs?
Oh yeah, plug some stuff, right? I got to get used to doing that. So,
Mm-hmm.
Nerdy Coffee Mondays, 9 a.m. ish. We review things that have gone on over the weekend. We talk about some box office stuff and any news that's dropped between our flagship show. Am I safe in saying it's the flagship show?
I
It's the
guess at
only
this
other
point it kind
main
of is.
show. Hey Archer Live Thursdays at 8:15 ish. Come to the technical difficulties. Stay for the either and the live chat. Also, nerdaffiliated.com, where you can get all of our nerdy merch, which our illustrious boss is not wearing, but we'll
Any?
forgive him for
Yeah.
that
I
today.
was like looking around. And I was like, oh, I have like nothing on this table.
Yeah, I mean, it's not helping you. I
I'll
have the Hey Archer tank top on, but it's
I'll
underneath my hoodie.
I'll let's see. Is it this way? I'll put a something there
There you go.
overlaid.
Uh, you have, so like with Hey Archer Live, Hey Archer, your regular show, Rambling with Anthony, uh, Sal. He does trailer reactions. He talks about video games. He's our man on Reddit and Twitch. I want to say,
And Discord.
and and Discord. I apologize, and Discord. And he's our resident game guy. I feel like, I mean, you obviously know more because you knew about The Last of Us, but you two definitely way surpassed me. But I feel like he's the guy. So yeah, uh, and that's it. Become a member. You can join us through YouTube, and Steve will uh, get into detail on that because I still have to read I have to study. Sorry.
Well, I mean, you just essentially join the Nerd Foundation, help keep the channel alive, help keep the channel going, help the channel get better. Just by 99 cents a month, join, show us that you appreciate the content. We greatly appreciate you. But then also there's a $2.99 tier. In that one, I've actually mentioned it and nobody's taken me up on the offer. You can submit video or audio comments, questions, concerns, and we'll share some of those on our various shows. And also, what I need to work on is custom emojis to go in the chats for the live streams. So I'll do that as well. And then I'm still pondering a higher tier to think what cool benefits can come from there. So if you have any ideas, put it down below. One of the benefits I was thinking was a discount on our website. So let us know if anybody has any other ideas for that.
Yeah.
And you show up on
And
top of the screen if you're our latest super chatter or affiliate member.
there is that.
There's that.
And yeah, please let us know down below what you thought of all the topics we spoke about today. I know we stayed super focused this time. This is the first time Rambling has ever just focused on one topic and stayed
Just one.
through all the way to the end. Just the one. We're getting better in 2023, folks. But yeah. So thank you for listening to me. Thank you for watching Mr. Archer here. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Steve, play that outro, please.